I can't tell you how many people either call me, ask me questions in my class, or email me this really kind of common question, which is, how do I impress a casting director? First of all, you need to know what a casting director is. A lot of people don't know. Well, these are the people who decide who's going to come in and audition, okay? So the idea is you really want to impress these people with your work and get on their radar. How do we impress a casting director? It's quite simple, really. Do a good job. Now, what does doing a good job mean exactly? Well, it means first making sure you're prepared. What does preparing mean? Preparing, first you got to memorize your lines. That's number one. Number two, make sure you take the time to analyze the scene. Make sure you analyze it and figure out what the author's intent with the material is. I mean, these people spend so much time on writing material that if you kind of spend the time and figure out what the message of the piece is, the odds of you getting the role are going to increase significantly. As far as auditioning goes, when you're in the room, a lot of actors feel this insecurity. They feel like they have to do stuff in the room because they're not adequately prepared. First and foremost, when it comes to auditioning, number one is being honest and real. Why do we have to be honest and real? Why can't we just get in there and do a bunch of gags and a bunch of tricks and be cute? The reason is, if you're not human and you're not real, well then the audience, this being the casting director, cannot connect with you. They can't relate to you. They can't say, oh, that reminds me of me when I was a kid. So at the expense of all of the tricks and the gags, we got to make sure that we're honest, that we're real, so that the casting director can relate to you. So that being said, how do we actually prepare for an audition? Well, the first thing that we, as I said before, is we got to memorize the lines, we got to interpret the scene. If you're using the technique, which I believe in, we got to pick an emotion, pick an objective. And then we do the exercise of breathing, thinking the objective, preparing the scene. Now, I can't tell you how many actors have said to me, you know, I don't know what's wrong, you know, the only auditions I feel like I can do good at are the ones when I get it last minute and I don't have time to prepare. So let's think about this for a moment. What does that really mean? What you're telling me is that the less you work on it, the better you're going to be. Now, I don't know anything on this planet where the less work you do, the better you are. Now, one could say, what does less work you do mean? Well, I'm talking about the ability to be in the moment and trust the work you've done. Doing nothing actually requires a lot of preparation, especially in today's fast-paced world where everybody's moving around doing stuff. To actually stop and receive the other actor or the reader and play off of that person in the moment is very difficult to do. But that's what executing means. Well, first we prepare. It's just like an athlete. Okay, let's look at tennis, for example. You have to learn how to hit a forehand. You hit it 1,000 times over and over and over again. We keep preparing. The coach says to you, listen, you got to bend your legs, you got to turn your shoulders. Well, all of that stuff falls under the umbrella of preparation. In acting, that's when you're doing the breathing. That's when you're thinking the words of the objective. That's when you're analyzing the scene. That all falls under preparation, and your acting is not going to be good. You're going to be pushing. It's just like playing tennis. You can't be a good tennis player when you're learning how to hit a forehand. It's impossible. But the idea is to learn it so well that when the pressure is on, that you come through and you can execute. What does execute mean? That means truly letting go and trusting all of that work you've done. If I'm playing tennis and I'm thinking about how to hit a forehand, the ball's going to go in the net, guaranteed. It will, or it will go out. But if I can just trust the work and I just hit the ball, let go, well, chances are the ball's going to go in if you've done your work. I think tennis is such a great analogy for acting in general, because there's another common mistake that actors make at auditions. And that's, they only act when they're talking. In other words, they do their lines, and then they wait for the reader to say their lines, and then they do their lines again. So it's sort of this, they're doing their lines, la da 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 da, and then when there's when the reader or the casting director is doing their lines, they're kind of just waiting for their turn to speak. And then they do their lines again, and it's very choppy, and obviously that's not what we do in real life. And so again, coming back to reality, casting director can't identify with that. To me, it's sort of the same thing as tennis. Sort of like saying to a tennis player, I only want you to play tennis when you're hitting the ball. So I'm going to hit the ball, boom, and now I'm just going to hang out. I'm going to wait until the ball comes back to me. But the other tennis player is hitting the ball way over there. So I need to be engaged with the tennis player when I'm not hitting the ball the same way I am as when I'm hitting it. Now, the interesting thing about tennis and acting and how similar they are with regards to executing is when we play tennis or when we play sports in general, it all comes back to the ability to play off of your opponent, to receive the ball, to play off of the ball and let the ball, in a sense, move you to the left or to the right of the court. And that's what acting is. Acting is like playing tennis. You're receiving everything outside of you and letting that be the thing that drives you to do what you do. I mean, really think about it. Who's causing me to do this with my hands now? It would be you. It would be the camera. It would be the guy who's shooting the camera. That's what's driving me to talk. What's driving you to look at the video now? It's me. It's the picture that you're looking at that's causing. You're not saying, okay, I got to make sure I look like I'm looking at the video camera now. I just receive the video camera, let it make me do what I do, and trust that I know what I'm talking about, and let it happen. So again, coming back to sort of the basics of audition technique, please don't make the mistake of waiting till the last minute because you're afraid that you're going to overlearn it, and when you get in there, you're going to duplicate, all the work you've done. That's something that I used to do as an actor because I didn't understand what it meant to execute. This is probably one of the most important things when it comes to acting: the ability to execute, the ability to trust the work that you've done. Now, this is tricky. It's tricky to do. It's hard because what happens is if I'm trusting the work, you got this thing going, well, where does my brain go? What should I be thinking about? Well, in real life, what are you thinking about now as you're listening to me? Nothing. You're receiving me. That's what you do. And that's what playing an objective is, in a sense. Like my objective now is, in a sense, to teach you. Well, you're driving me to teach you. So I'm receiving you, and that's what's causing me to talk. So the interesting thing about the experience of acting is that we're always listening. While I'm talking, I'm playing off of you. And while I'm listening to somebody talk to me, I'm playing off of you. And that's the golden key right there. If you can grasp that acting, in my opinion, should never have been called performing, because it implies you have to do, you have to make something happen. And that's not what people do in life. If we get up and we do, and we try to fill the space in a scene by sort of filling it with tricks or gags, then is that real? Is that what people do in real life? No. What they do is they receive the other person and let them be the one to cause you what you do. So make sure that you do the preparation by first memorizing your lines. Secondly, we've got to make sure that we interpret the scene. Take the time. Figure out why the author wrote this story. And if it's for a TV show, hey, maybe it's a good idea to do a little research on the show. Is it a comedy? Is it a drama? Before I learned, from Don Richardson, I remember a long, long time ago, before I really even knew what I was doing, I had an audition, and I felt so good about it because when I left the audition, they were all laughing, and then I didn't get a call back. And then I saw the play, and I found out later it was like this heavy play about like death. It was really depressing and heavy and down. And it was sort of like, well, hey, maybe had I taken the time to figure out this was a drama, and that those laughs actually killed the moment, then maybe I would have gotten a call back. So again, take the time to learn the material, figure out what the author's intent is. Is it to move you? Is it to amuse you? Is it to get big laughs? Which is it? After you interpret the scene, then you're going to do, if again you ascribe to the technique I teach, at that point you're going to pick your emotion, you're going to do your objective, take the steps, getting your body familiar with it. This is where, again, it's like the tennis player, learning the forehand. You're instilling these things into your brain and into your body so that when you do execute, when you do let go in the scene, that it will be there. And the next step, of course, is executing, trusting all that work you've done. Just play tennis. Again, if you're thinking about how to play tennis while you're playing, the ball's going to go in the net. And also remember, take the time the night before to look up where your audition is. A lot of actors, they get in their car the day of the audition, they start driving and they go, oh, wait, where's my audition? Look it up, get lost, look for parking. By the time they get to their audition, they're late, they're frazzled, the casting director's upset. Just do me a favor, just the night before, look it up on a map and know where you're going and how long it's going to take you to get there, with traffic, by the way. All right, in conclusion, I want to ask you one question. Why do you want to be an actor? Is it to become famous? Or do you want to be a great artist? Because that's what acting is. It's an art. And a lot of people forget that. They come to Hollywood and it's all about fame and fortune. Look, if you want to become famous, it's really simple. Get on a reality show. You know, do a game show. Take off your pants and run around in your underwear and put it on YouTube. You know, be funny somewhere. Be wacky. But if you want to be a great actor, that is an art. And by being a great actor and auditioning and getting better at this art, then you win. It's a victory. Believe me, if you're auditioning and you're not booking jobs, it's going to be a very, very frustrating experience for you if you're using that to build your self-esteem as an actor. The victory is, as an actor, becoming a better actor. That's how you win. It's nice when you book a job, of course, but you win by becoming a better actor. So just ask yourself that question. It's really simple. I have to leave you with this final thought. Van Gogh, greatest painter in my opinion ever, never sold a painting while he was alive. Yet he kept doing it over and over and over again. You think that he stopped because nobody bought his work? No, that guy painted and painted and painted. So as an actor, it's an art just like being a painter. So just think about that question. Why do you really want to be an actor? Thanks for watching. Make sure that you click subscribe to the 𝗖𝗹𝗹 YouTube channel. And until then, so long.